And some breaking news as the second domino has fallen for WWE approximately a half an hour ago. The second of their three big weekly primetime television shows has just found a new home. The NXT Brand, leaving the USA Network and officially headed to the CW Network. Minutes after this deal went public, President of WWE Nick Khan says, and I quote, "Between the new leadership and ownership, the economics of the deal and with their broadcast network now being in over 100 million homes, it became a no-brainer to move NXT, one of our signature weekly shows, to the CW." Now, hold on, time out before we go over to Dennis Miller's comments, who's the president for the CW. He left a statement moments after this deal went public, just like president of WWE Nick Khan. But for full transparency, what Nick Khan is telling you is that nobody else offered them more money, right? Because if you think that the CW was the number one landing spot for NXT for Nick Khan, you'd be fooling yourself, and clearly you haven't been following along with this whole saga. In fact, if Nick Khan was being fully transparent and honest, he'll tell you a week ago CW was not even top 5 on their radar. But that goes to show you the market is telling WWE we're not going to meet your asking price. Because you can look at SmackDown, for instance. WWE pulled in a sizable revenue increase, right? A nice fat deal with a nice uptick in revenue. But they fell short. The latest number we got was nearly $40 million a year on that new contract. Well, that's hundreds of millions of dollars left on the table. They fell short nearly $40 million a year. And of course, that sent the market into a frenzy. You guys remember, after that deal was announced publicly, WWE stock basically crashed over 15 points in just a few days. Now, I'm not saying the same will happen with NXT. Much smaller show on a smaller scale, not as enough substance. Best way to put it. But for SmackDown, even though you got a sizable increase in revenue, you fell way short of what you were hoping for. Your shareholders, the stock, sees this and they're like, wait a second, we still have 2 more shows on the table. What if they don't meet what we believe we should be getting? And sure enough, Deadline is reporting that NXT's new deal with the CW is a 5-year deal worth double the $15 million a year current contract. The problem with that is we were hearing it was $20 to $30 million. So maybe they're including the $50,000 to $100,000 a week production fee that most of these networks have to pay. In this instance, WWE. USA Network still to this day gives them a weekly production fee on top of their current deal. Now, for Fox's last deal with SmackDown, because that was an over $1 billion price tag, that production fee could have been worked within the current contract. We're not privy to those details. And nor do we know much about the current NXT deal with USA Network. That was never really made public. But we heard it was around $30 million, 20 to 30 on the low ball. But to say that they're $15 million, I don't know where that number is coming from. And Deadline is saying that's been doubled with the new deal, so now it's $30 million. So for BC, I'm seeing the same number that I saw on the last contract. But let's just say they're getting $10 million more, right? Nice, sizable increase if you were getting 20 from the jump. However, far short from what Nick Khan was asking for. If you think that they were stacking the NXT rosters and stacking these shows for weeks and even months to try to get as near and as close to 1 million viewers a week, if you think they were putting all that effort into this show just to pull $30 million a year, no, you got to believe Nick Khan was going for the 40 to 50. Because again, I'm hearing they were already getting, and maybe they were including production cost, who knows, but 20 to 30, you got to believe they were going for 40 to 50 bare minimum. That's how Nick Khan operates. And then to out of nowhere declare that the CW is the new landing spot for NXT. Something doesn't add up. I think the market told Nick Khan and WWE exactly where they could go stick it. And the CW was there saying, dude, we can give you more money than you get now, but we're not going to triple this thing. We're not going to give you 50, 60 million. Interesting, right? SmackDown, they left a lot of money on the table. It looks like NXT. They left a lot of money on the table. And now we look at Monday Night Raw and we say, where does that go? What home? Does the USA Network actually take SmackDown's bill and foot the bill for Raw? Do they have that kind of cash when viewership is going backwards? The USA Network could have kept NXT. That's not a lot of money, even if Deadline is saying it's like straight up double the revenue. NXT could have foot that bill if they wanted to, or USA Network could have, NBC, Universal, Comcast. They decided they didn't want to do business with NXT anymore. Have they already decided that they don't want to do business with Monday Night Raw? Are they going to sever the ties, keep the blue brand, and that's going to be their new wrestling destination? That's what they're going to hope that everybody kind of piles onto. SmackDown is the new USA Network flagship. And if that's the case, who buys Monday Night Raw for the asking price that Nick Khan is going to ask for? Because that'll be the third show in a row, I believe, I'm calling it right now, where they're going to fall far short from their asking price. Now, the president for CW, Dennis Miller, says, and I quote, this was a statement put out moments after this deal went public. We are thrilled to welcome the WWE brand into the CW Sports portfolio as they play an integral role in our mission to bring live sporting events to the network year-round. WWE NXT is a perfect fit for the CW thanks to its dynamic young talent featuring the hottest rising stars in the sport and exhilarating, unpredictable weekly events. The passion and engagement of WWE's fan base is unmatched, and we are eager to grow that audience as WWE NXT's new home on broadcast television. Now, that's the big thing here too, right? Broadcast television versus cable. It's basically what SmackDown is on now. Fox, broadcast, more eyeballs. Next year, when it goes to USA Network, cable television, you have to pay a lot less eyeballs. Or so you think. If you actually do some research, though, the CW, that is supposedly seen by 100% of households, on the flip side, USA Network is actually seen in 98% of households. The USA Network is actually seen in hotels, bars, or other establishments as part of a core 15-channel group. That is a tight-knit group, obviously, and USA Network is privy to all those locations. In other words, USA Network is a staple. So USA Network's reach is actually very dynamic, and the closest thing to broadcast television you're going to find, other than maybe TNT, TBS. So it'll be interesting to see if that really moves the needle. Again, WWE Raw is just really bad, but there's no reason that shouldn't be pulling in SmackDown-type numbers. SmackDown only pulls in about 2-1-2-2 on average. There's no reason WWE doesn't pull that. It's just really bad. And that's without football, by the way, whether there's football competition or not. There's no reason that Raw shouldn't be at around 2 million viewers. It's just a really bad show. We all know that. And that's why, even when there was no football competition, they were trying to just stay afloat 1-5. So that's the whole deal, man. CW is owned by Nexstar Media Group. They have 75% ownership. And the other 12.5 a piece, the other 25% split in 12.5 is CBS and Warner Media Group. So CBS, Paramount Global, I believe, right? CBS is Paramount Global, and then the other half of that 25% is Warner Media. So, I mean, these are some big entities for the CW. So if they want to leak in some more money to the wrestling product, they could easily do such. It would obviously be Nexstar Media Group's final say. So it is a conglomerate. But man, just a weird landing spot for NXT. I don't believe this is the best case scenario for Nicholas Khan. Not financially and not where they wanted to show up. This brings back memories of WWE Raw on the Sci-Fi Network. Do you guys remember that? Probably not. You probably are trying to forget that over the last 10, 15 years, right? Yeah, they were on the Sci-Fi Network, and it was a miserable failure. I remember also they were on like TNN. Wasn't it like the Nashville Network? I think Raw was on that channel as well. You talk about just it didn't fit. We'll see, man. But that is the big news. The CW USA Network, just like Fox, said, no, thank you. We're not going to meet that price. Please go elsewhere. The USA Network told WWE, listen, we did business with SmackDown. We're still on the fence with Raw. We can tell you right now, you can go elsewhere with NXT. We no longer want to do that type of business. And it looks like WWE, they're going to the CW Network. So let me know how you guys feel about that. Obviously, that is a massive... That's a massive change, man. That's going to take a lot to get used to. I got to find what channel is the CW. By the way, Raw's rating just came in. Hold on, guys. Raw's rating just came in. It was not a good NFL football game this past Monday. Jets Chargers, I believe. It was a little bit of a blowout. Jets looked horrible. That was the only real competition. No Major League Baseball World Series, nothing to do like that. So I'm guessing 1-6 maybe. Because it just wasn't a good show. It wasn't good enough to pull a 1-7. So because of the lack of competition, they might have gotten to maybe a 1-6. The past 3 weeks, in case you're wondering, they pulled 1-4s and maybe even a 1-3 last week. It was really bad, man. They were under a 1-5. Hold on, guys. It's still popping. Oh, here we go. Raw last night scored a 1-5 rating. Wow, they couldn't even pull 1-6 with a crappy football game. 1-5 rating. Now, the funny part, it's not funny, man. We want to see this. We want to see success. But this is the highest viewership in a month. Oh, man. A 1-5 is their highest viewership in a month. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know. Wow, man. Monday Night Raw continues to... If you would have told me that there would have been a month that looks like this, guys. 1-4, 1-4, 1-3 semi-odd, 1-5. That's Monday Night Raw's month. I'd love to tell you I never would have thought I'd see that, but I've been telling you for years now that that's where we are headed if they don't change everything. And they refuse to change anything. They don't, whether it's a Vincent Kennedy McMahon or a Paul Levesque McMahon, they just refuse to change really the form. There's little changes here and there, but it's just, it's taking out something, it's putting in another, and when it's all said and done, it's all just bad. And viewership is telling you that. This type of viewership is telling you that even the people watching football, they don't even care to tune in during halftime or during commercial breaks. Like the product literally is not even interesting them. That's what these ratings tell you. It's sad. As far as Collision, guys, unfortunately, they pulled in, they were in the 300,000s. They lost like 100,000 viewers. They lost, was it 100,000? Man, I don't want to, hold on. Let me just, that's a bold statement, so I want to make sure that that is actually correct. 366,000 viewers. Wow, what a hit. 366, I think that's over. I mean, they were well into the 400,000s bare minimum last week. So now they're in the 300. Collision took a massive hit, man. I don't know what their comp was, but that was not a show. Again, the ratings will tell you if you have a must-see show, they'll find any way to even tune in for a minute here, a minute there. It will drastically change the ratings. So ratings for Collision just took an ass whooping, and Monday Night Raw just cannot get their own head out of their own ass. BC Amplified, that's the big news I got for you. Until next time, there will be a next time. Top guys, we're out. BC saying check you. Peace.